Alright, welcome to SOloBAMF Gaming. Please like, sub, and all of that stuff. Alright. This video is in reaction to Destiny 2 YouTuber Elitist content creators melting down over the day one raid, Root of Nightmares. The controversy, and I'm using finger quotes here, is that the raid was too easy. So easy, in fact, that the first clear was right around 2.5 hours. It was so incredibly easy that the normal YouTube elitists failed. And that's a problem because they don't like it when you tell them what to do. They want to be the ones to tell you what to do. All right. Before we go on any further, I want to say two things. One, I'm going to give a huge congratulations to Team Hard in the Paint with Fire team members, and hope I say your names right: Roen, Osiris, Punz, Kai, SK, and Grandalf. I like the name Grandalf, that's cool. For absolutely killing it as the world's first team to clear the Root of Nightmares raid before anyone else. Two, huge shout out to everyone, and I mean everyone, that managed to get the emblem for the day one raid clear. Regardless of what a bunch of Pansy YouTuber elitists say, you managed to do something great. You all fucking rock. So, excuse me, I'm coming over cold. Sorry if I accidentally clear my throat in the middle of this. And of course, we're waiting for Bungie maintenance to finally bring the damn game up. Hopefully, they'll fix some of the problems that are plaguing society. But aside from that, while we're waiting for that crap to happen, let's get into this. All right, so I'm just going to say it. What the fuck is wrong with you, elitist snobs? All right, you are so focused on the raid being easy that you lost track of reality. Regardless of your disclaimers of, this isn't to disparage you, you then followed up with, but this raid sucks and it was way too easy. Which basically means, go fuck yourself. This was a cakewalk and your accomplishments means nothing. Go back and listen to your own goddamn videos, and you will see what an elitist, snobby ass you guys sound like. And before you're like, oh, well, you're a YouTuber. Well, yeah, I guess I am. I have 37 followers that watch me, do things on Hogwarts. I'm not a Destiny streamer. But even if I was, let's talk about my credentials and the credentials of the team that I had. We have a lot of us, we come in and we play anywhere between 6 to 10 hours a day. We have people who do the solo flawless dungeons. We do all the master content. We do the grandmasters. Yeah, but we're by no means on par with Dado streaming 16 hours a day, or Saltagrepo and all that other shit. Sure, we do crazy crap, stuff that people want, but we're not by any means at the quote unquote elite, and we don't claim to be. All right, we wanted to do the day one raid. It would have been great to get first place, but we're just happy that we actually finished it within 24 hours. So we're probably a little bit more than the average player, but we're nowhere near the elite snobby assholes that we're going to be talking about today. All right, so if this raid was so easy, let's get back to this, then you shouldn't have had a problem with a bunch of randoms utterly kicking your fucking ass. One streamer complained, and I'll just fucking call him out, Dado, that he lost his unofficial title of the only person to finish in the top 25 of every raid ever in Destiny. And he's really upset because he didn't get to finish all of Destiny as being one of the top, or the only top 25 player in every raid. Well, if you're really that good, Dado, then you should have still had the title. The raid was so easy, you should have just been able to beat out all the common folk, but you didn't. So don't try and make the common folk feel guilty because your dumbass couldn't be better than everyone else. This raid was so quote-unquote easy that the world's first team for the last 3 raids failed to beat out a bunch of randoms from nowhere. All right, so let's just break this down for a second. I'm not going to get into 54,000 people completed it versus, 2 people completing Last Wish and all of that other crap, because it's irrelevant. It's still a contest mode. It's still hard. And you just trying to throw numbers out there to try and pound your chest and make you feel better that you didn't do as well actually makes you look like an asshole and makes you look like you didn't know what you were doing in this raid. not the other way around. But let's just take a moment to look at arguably the hardest raid to date, and that, in my opinion, would be the Last Wish. Because only 2 teams finished on day 1 for the Last Wish. Now, Elitist YouTubers found a way to cheese farm pinnacles to artificially increase their light level higher than regular players through a glitch in a strike. Sure, they shared it with the common folks like the day before and said, do this before the raid. But it wasn't enough time to get the common folks on the same par with the people who were streaming and diehard gamers and playing the game 16 plus hours a day. As a result, maybe not the only result, but sure had an influence because that day 1 raid really did suck when you were under leveled. As a result, only 2 teams ended up completing that raid within 24 hours. So what does it look like when the YouTuber crybabies don't have an advantage over everyone else and everyone else is on equal footing at the start of a new raid? You get the root of Nighmares. Everybody had the exact same opportunity as everyone else. There wasn't anybody who had a disadvantage unless you were seriously slacking in your week and a half effort to get up to 1780, which was incredibly easy, by the way. So everybody was at the appropriate level. Everybody had the same opportunities, the same chances to get weapons, same equal footing, and arguably the extreme YouTube crybabies had an edge because they were streaming for 16 plus hours a day. They were probably 1800 or 1805 or even 1810 going into it, and without the artifact boost, which doesn't really matter, but they had all that opportunity to get whatever weapons they wanted, whatever loadouts they wanted, and they still failed. So that should tell you that you accomplished something that they couldn't, and that you were more efficient with your time than they were. All right, so congratulations. Now, regarding my personal thoughts on the contest mode raid, I will concede that either the first or the second counter needed to have a second mechanic. 1 person doing a mechanic and 5 people clearing ads in the first encounter, and 2 people doing a mechanic and 4 people clearing ads in the second encounter just feels kind of bad. I will concede that single point to the elitist YouTuber crybabies. No, I don't want it to be a Crown of Sorrow scenario where every player needs to be active and doing a mechanic all the time. Nothing was more annoying than doing the boss on Crown of Sorrows and having 6 players segregated into 2 teams behind force fields and 1 player continuously dying because he can't handle doing anything but ad clear. That also feels bad. That said, the third and fourth encounter in Root of Nighmares, in my opinion, were balanced just fine. All right, and I even think that the number of ads and the second encounter, in my opinion, was a little bit easier. I didn't feel like the ads were necessarily hard because you didn't have the tormentors. The tormentors on day 1 were actually a pain in the ass. But once you got the system down, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't remember how long it took us to clear the first encounter, but it was probably an hour or 2. And it's probably an hour or 2 for the second encounter. We had our biggest troubles, like most people, with the third and fourth encounter. All right, on contest mode, the third encounter was a nightmare for those on the top plates. Running through a nightmare gauntlet of hailfire, we wiped more to players running death than anything else. Excuse me, the mechanics were challenging enough on contest mode, and the boss is hard enough because he had enough health, and he fired back at you, making it challenging. Okay, so that was a pretty tough encounter, and it was mostly tough for like I said, the people on the top plates. If you didn't have good ad clear in the center, and even if you did have a good ad clear in the center, ads would just spontaneously come in on the back when your top plate people are running in, and the people in mid trying to clear ads might not have enough time to get them out, and then they die. So that was a very tough encounter, primarily because of those top plates. We ran into a little bit of ammo hiccups, but it wasn't the end of the world. We could work our way around that. Let's see what else we got here. So let's discuss the final boss. All right, this seems to be where all the little YouTuber crybabies are having a field day. This was not an easy fight, regardless of what the Cry-Baby Brigade screams. The constantly being booped into the air, the Centurions killing you in one hit, the wave of ads just teleporting in, Nezarec chasing your bitch ass around the arena. Just getting to DPS was, as the rate implied, a nightmare. So what about DPS then? Well, yes, a team did finish Nezarec with Rat Kings, but it wasn't the whole DPS phase. It was the final stand. I know it because we tried to do Rat Kings and DPS, and it sucked royally. All right, but it is a nice solution and alternative to Outbreak when the heavy ammo runs dry, and the heavy ammo will run dry. So what about the quote-unquote cheat plate? Using my finger quotes there again. I don't know if you know this, you elitist assholes, but every boss has a way to avoid damage. All right, even Rulk, who you guys keep constantly bringing up as this champion of, oh my god, it was such an open area, and he just run around and just kill people. No, because even in DPS, he would just focus in on one person, and everybody else would continue to div and then DPS his ass. All right, and that one person would still get in shots before he just sidestepped him and continued to bash the crap out of him. So you can't even make that argument. But oh my God, can we think of another example? I don't know. Remember Callus in the fucking Leviathan raid? I guess we didn't stand on plates in that raid to avoid the dogs and ads. But what happens if you step off of the plate? Well, I have the answer to that too, because on non-contest clear, we killed them with laments. All right, just to see we always do some DPS tests in our own personal group. So we did do laments, and we had a bubble and a couple of wells. The bubble was probably pretty much unnecessary, but he does the same thing. He jumps around, he teleports, and he tries to smack you. The only difference is that you might be smacked out of a well and die. But for the most part, it's the exact same scenario. So go F yourself. All right. So you pretty much the story is, if you're in a well, you're going to live, or if you're out of a well, you're going to die. Ooh, it's a big secret. Look at that. Follow SOloBAMF for more details on how to beat the boss. All right. Yeah, I'm being fucking sarcastic. Our biggest problem was pretty much threefold. The boss hiding behind pillars, wells to stand in, and ammo. Well, we tried all the different plates, and pretty much the one that Data was using in his video just happened to be the one that we gravitated to because it was more wide open, and he didn't have a chance to hide like a little bitch behind one of the pillars, negating most of all of our DPS. All right. Because when he does that, it's pretty much a wipe, because you need all 2 or 3 phases to get all that damage in. So as far as wells, we switched to all warlocks for the boss encounter. And we still had trouble with getting 2 wells for DPS. The shit hit really hard and fast, and the middle team with Nezarec really needed the wells just to survive. So there were times when we were in there just trying to argue who is going to have the second well, and 5 other warlocks would say, not me, because I already used it. And, sure, you elitist snobs could say, oh, well, then you guys suck because you should have saved a well. Refer back to my earlier comment where you didn't bean random people. So you're not the ones to judge anymore. All right, regarding ammo, my personal opinion, whether you succeed or fail should not come down to RNG if you generated heavy ammo between rounds. Even with the artifact mod and a commemoration, killing people with void, you still weren't guaranteed heavy. So you still had to get the heavy, and if you didn't get it, you were pretty much screwed. So we ended up switching over to Thunderlords, because the ammo economy on machine guns was a lot better than the ammo economy on rockets. You pick up 1 ammo brick and your machine gun is not instantly full, but it's enough to keep you a contender in DPS. If you end up picking up 1 brick of rockets, sure, you could get 3 if you have the ammo finder on, or scavenger, But you know, you also need shit to survive, and sometimes your rockets miss, and sometimes you die to your own rockets. Sometimes, but you know, whatever. So anyway, that's how we ended up finishing that off. So in my opinion, both the third and fourth encounters were challenging. Maybe not as challenging as Salt de Grepo and Fallout and Dado and Lucky wanted them to be. You know, this is their one day of the year where they get the hardest content in the entire universe, and nobody else had better be in their way. But then again, why didn't you finish better in the standing if it was so incredibly easy? You know, we're just going to keep coming back to that. Because if it was so easy, why didn't you finish better? And you're going to come back with your bullshit answers, but it doesn't change the fact that if it was so easy, you could have done better and should have done better. So I'm flat out saying that the Elitist Crybaby Brigade sucked at this raid so hard that they have to disparage other people's accomplishments to feel good about themselves. So they have zero reasons to ask for contest mode raids to be harder. But if Bungie did make Destiny 2 contest mode raids harder to cater to the 0.0001% of players, the game would be unplayable for everyone else. The YouTuber Crybaby Brigade doesn't like it when you are on equal footing with them. They want to flex. Well, the flex would have been you guys finishing before random players who don't game as much as you do. The flex could have been you guys going into it at 1750 and 1780 instead of 1780 or 1800 or whatever it is you guys started at. All right, but you guys didn't want to do that either because you wanted to try and be first, just like everybody else wanted to. But you don't like it when everybody else is on common ground. However, I will give you that the flex was dual contest clear, and the speed clear, and the flawless clear, all on contest mode. All right, but that can't be enough for the YouTuber Crybaby Brigade. They have to have all the day one clears, and no one in the regular community better not dare even try, or they will make videos disparaging your accomplishments. Well, to that, I say go to hell, YouTuber, streamer, elitist, crybabies. Go to hell and get better and come back and then fucking bitch when you guys finish the damn thing before everyone else. Anyway, I don't care if you guys like it. I don't care if you comment. Say whatever the hell you want. These fucking YouTuber elitists in Destiny 2 are just toxic as hell. That's all I got to say. Thanks for your time.